Okay, we don't know if we've gone live yet. I don't know. Don't know what's going on. Hold on, trying to go live. Hey, I don't know if this is working, but we'll try again. Hello again, one and all. We have actually gone live now. Had a bit of a abortive false start there, but we got it ticked over in the end. How is everyone doing tonight? I'm Andrew.
Brendan.
Tim.
We're here for another episode of the THRS Deep Cuts, which is what we do on our Thursday nights. Tonight we're going to be talking about the latest from Eradicator and Mordred, alongside a hotly requested classic from the Osmonds, this is going to be a very interesting little pool we've got going tonight. It's three very different artists to talk about. We'll have some clips coming up in the comments, and also everything you need to know about it is also in the description or the post for every tuning into this one. So please hit the links, share it around, help us get the word out about these streams we're doing a few times a week now. And hit those links, follow us, follow our sponsors as well. A big thank you to Squid Ink Screen Printing, Alt Cult, and Rockstar Finance. And we'll just sort of get on with it here. We've gotten some comments coming through already. But before we get to those ones, how are you going, Brendan? How's your week going?
Yeah, good. Been flat out, which is which is good. You know, lots of people aren't, so I'm glad that I am. And going to the studio tomorrow to do a different little project with a mate of mine. So that'll be a bit of fun. It might be hard rock show stuff. Well, you never know. Who knows?
I'd like to hear it.
We have the fucking Osmonds on here. We can do anything, can't we?
Yeah, pretty much. We try not to limit ourselves too much. What about you, Tim? How you going?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, actually. I'm just, pretty much the same as Sunday, to be honest with you.
It is pretty much, except I went to the pub last night. I'm probably slightly happier.
That's true. Like, slowly doing more work this week, so that's good.
Yeah. Just been another busy week. Busy week for me personally. Just a lot of work on, and marathon week is always a grind. So getting the content done for the end of month on Channel 31 is always challenging. Speaking of that stuff, tune in tonight, 10:30 p.m. on Channel 44 in Adelaide, and this coming Saturday night, 10:30 p.m. we'll have our 2-hour special dedicated to Metal Church. I know we'll get to the hot topic in a second about this sort of stuff, but it's a bit of a quirk of timing, that one. We'd pushed this one back already a couple of times, Metal Church special, and we finally got it done, and then tragedy strikes this week. So everything else, though, is pretty good, apart from what we're going to talk about in just a second. Before we do, we'll get to the comments. Good to see the regulars jumping in. So Dean, hey lads, hope everyone's week has been good. Dean, I did get your email. I apologize. It's very hard for me to get back to anyone, especially at this time of the month. But we did review the last Airborne album. I thought it was online. Apparently it's not, so I'll have to go and dig that one up and get it online for you. But I have seen it. I just haven't got that one there for you. Nude says, hi, guys. So thanks for joining in, as always. Nudes, good to see you here. Tim, our good friend Tim, who you will be seeing on Saturday night with our Metal Church special. He's gone, hi, guys. Getting in early here, but this entire week can get in the bin. And, yes, he's got a very good reason for that. Helen.
Tim, you spoke to me today. That must have cheered you up.
Our good friend Helen is saying evening, lads, as well. So Brendan, were you able to cheer TC up or?
No, I don't. To be honest, well, Yeah, Tim and I work in the same field, so I was actually just calling him to pick his brain. And he was very helpful, might I add. So, Tim C, show him the love.
Tim, if you're in the comments with us still, put your business in the comments there. Give it a plug while you're here. Why not? We'll share the love around a bit.
Unless you're in my area, in which case, call me.
Yes, well, that's it. But Tim's gone, yes, Brendan, that was a highlight of my day. So there you go. Oh, we got a bit of a bromance going on. This is always good to have. Anyway, look, yeah, we're gonna cover a few things off tonight, but we are gonna get to the obvious topic of this week, and that is we've had it's been a very, very shitful week. So if you want to share your favorite songs or memories of the people we're about to talk about, then please do get in the comments. We want to get this to be as interactive as possible. If you're tuning in later on, thanks for joining us then, and feel free to get in the comments there as well. We'll take note of that for later on. But Mike Howe was on Tuesday from Metal Church. He passed away. And then Joey Jordison from Slipknot Murder Dolls was yesterday. And then this morning, the news of Dusty Hill from ZZ Top passing away came through as well. So this has been a shit show of a week in that regard. I don't really know what to say about it all, to be honest, because this feels like, what was the last one? Was it 2020 was the Annus Horribilis that we all, or was it a year before that?
It was 2018. Yeah. I remember being dreadful, and it's just bloody, It's only going to get worse. The rock stars are getting older and they're not getting replaced. So.
That's it. It's very, very. I don't know what to make of it all. It's very, very sad. So, I don't know, Tim. Let's go to you first, because I know you're the drummer amongst us, and Joey is widely credited. You put up a post of your own about Joey yourself. So, what do any of these ones and anything in particular mean?
For me personally, Joey was a big one. Especially, he was at that age where there really is like a whole generation of like hard rock drummers that hold Joey Jordison well, a lot of it he's like a Ringo Starr in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
For a lot of us, it's the reason why we started playing, and you can put me in that category for a lot of ways. And I know he's been very sick for a long time, and it's sad to see at 46 years old is way too young. But it was very sad, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So and I was thinking too is that's the second of the sort of classic Slipknot lineup to pass away as well, which is not good, to say the least. So, very somber week for all.
Yeah, it's remarkable that the oldest of the three was Dusty Hill, and he was 72, I think, from memory, which is still in today's standards not even all that old. No. So youngest was 46, and Mike Howe was 55. So none of these are ancient, which is
I mean, Dusty Hill. I remember the main memory I actually have of Dusty Hill was when ZZ Top did an episode of King of the Hill.
Yeah.
And the three of them were just fucking phenomenal at just making fun of themselves.
Yeah.
And sort of making themselves silly against, the regular cast just as the straight guys. Yeah. And it just worked so well as just, and there was a lot of great, like, just bad musician jokes in there as well, and just bad beard jokes, and it was just fantastic stuff. So, lost just a great character as well, and really a phenomenal bass player, really underrated bass player as well. Just a big fat bass tone as well. And, for a three-piece band, a lot of that big sound comes from him. Mm-hmm. So, as I said before, a very somber week.
Yeah. I'll get some comments. We've got some coming through soon. But what about you, Brendan? What are your reflections on all this at the moment?
Look, shit week. Joey also probably hit me the hardest, to be honest with you, because, I mean, I got into Slipknot late. you know. It was one of those things. I mean, Joey and I are the same age, which sort of puts it in a bit of perspective as well. Which was kind of that makes it all a bit frightening.
Yeah.
But haven't seen him. Been lucky enough to see him live a couple of times. He's probably one of the best drummers I've ever seen, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. He's fucking phenomenal how good he was live. But yeah, it was weird because I was late getting onto it. You know, Slipknot for me were always a band that the kids were wearing the shirts. You know, I was old school, and you know, Metallica, Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, like everyone else, and everyone else of my age. And so when I picked up on them, sort of years later, I've gone, "Oh, holy shit, what are the kids doing now?" You know, well, it's not the kids. They said these guys are the same age as me.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's a bit frightening, and that on top of the Murder Dolls. So me, like Dave, I think a massive Murder Dolls fan. So I got to see him live doing that. Incredible. Saw him at what was it? Soundwave? It must have been Soundwave.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and
they did play Soundwave.
Yeah, it was bloody. What a phenomenal band that was too. So that was a lot of fun. So that's a huge loss. Dusty as well. I mean, fuck, ZZ Top again. Well, Andrew, you remember, so you're similar age to me, but because of that sort of MTV generation, 1984, when Eliminator came out,
yeah,
ZZ Top were as relevant a band as anyone on the planet at that time. They just, you know, that was that and timing. My God, that was album number 8, but they put together some great music videos. Happened to land right when MTV just hit and struck gold. And Eliminator is an album that's just burned into my brain. You know. From childhood, you know, I remember my uncle giving that to my dad for Christmas in like 1984 or whatever it was, 83 maybe. So I always remember that album to the point where I had to go buy it, oddly enough, on vinyl. But yeah, so ZZ Top is a huge loss, and anyone that hasn't really touched into their back catalogue and only knew them sort of from then onwards, there's a great Netflix doco too that you should check out. There's a top Netflix documentary. It's fucking phenomenal. It's really, really good watch. So yeah, check that out. Metal Church I hadn't had as much to do with, but touched on it a bit because of course you guys were reviewing it, so I'd listened to a bit of it. And so that seemed sort of timely but eerie at the same time. So it was a bit weird. But,
Yeah, no, when it comes to Dusty from ZZ Top, it's that's the one that's more of the soundtrack of your life kind of thing for people like you and I, Brendan. Like that's a band that's a perennial. They're an evergreen band. They're always good, always, you know, I don't know. Like, you knew what you were getting. It was a band like AC/DC, Motorhead. You knew exactly what you were going to get, and it was always going to be good. And I loved hearing their stuff. And it's funny that, you grow up with these. It's one of those soundtrack bands. You've got them all. Every year of your life, you know there's going to be ZZ Top kind of thing playing. And it's nice to hear that they obviously, I think they knew it was coming because Dusty apparently said, you know, give the guy that's filling in currently the bottom end and you take it to the top kind of thing. So the band are going to continue. They're going to release another album, I think, and stuff. So I don't know how that's all going to play out, but they've already confirmed they're not breaking up. They are going to keep going, and I have no issue with that. I think that's a good thing. It's just that it's funny that we're now getting to that point where bands are being forced into those kind of decisions as well, these older ones, where it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out over the next 5 to 10 years. But yeah, with ZZ Top for just the soundtrack to your life moment, that's the one that's like, oh, fuck, another one, because we're losing a few of those at the moment. Which is horrifying to think about. But, you know, what you said at the top is that, they're all going and they're not getting replaced, and that's how it's working out at the moment. So, for me, that's the soundtrack of your life moment. When it comes to Joey Jordison, it's remarkable, actually, because Tim brought up how 2 of the original members now have gone away. And on their first tour here, Shane and I went and did a meet and greet at an in-store in JB Hi-Fi for the very first tour I did here. And so you walked in, you got your poster, and you walk along, and they're all in their fucking masks. And it was all the full gimmick then, the full gimmick. No talking, no nothing.
Yeah,
just
at that point in time, they did kayfabe better than everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they would just, whatever. They were completely in character, just scribbled it. So I've got to find it. It's in my archives of crap somewhere, but I've got a poster signed by all the original members of the band, or the members of that tour anyway. So it's like one of those things I like to dig out somewhere and find it. I've already promised one of my daughters that it's going to her when I go because she loves that band. So that's already where that post is going. But it's one of those things where you look back on it and it's like, fuck me. Like
Probably
2 of them
That's
are gone now from that day. And like, not that you know them or anything, but it just makes it more real world kind of thing. You've been this far from these people and it's just sort of like weird. But yeah, when it comes to Mike Howe, Metal Church, that's a really weird one. Having crammed their albums over the last few weeks to do that special, which we filmed last Saturday, with the intention of it going to air this Saturday night. And that was always like we'd already pushed it back a couple of times because we just like last month before we started to do the TV thing because we thought it was the last broadcast and all sort of stuff. So we just rolled things through, and especially having Tim Caterson, who's in the comments at the moment, having someone who's such a huge fan of that band, and I think we all agreed that Mike Howe's probably the best singer for that band as well. That yeah, knowing people and how it impacts them makes it so, because you've just crammed so much of it, you're just so exposed, and it's really raw when it comes through in that moment because you've only just sort of gotten to know the sound, the music, the art, and gotten to go, fuck, I've overlooked this for a while, spoiler alert for Saturday. But you sit there and go, shit, I was just getting into this, and there's another album supposed to be coming out next year, and okay, cool, I'm looking forward to it, and then that all just gets gone. And it's like you've just gone through this ride, and then this is the stop on the ride, and like I don't know what's going to happen with the band, of course, but this is just nuts. And it was just really eerie. The timing of it is the biggest thing. It's odd. Yeah, bizarre. It was been a very, very strange week. I'm hoping to wake up tomorrow and not have to do another post.
Yeah.
So that'd be nice for a day this week to have the Friday being a nice one where I don't have to go 3 days in a row with an obituary post, because it's odd doing it from that side of things too, because you got to acknowledge it and make a post and all those things, and those posts always go spastic. So for your numbers, they're great, but it's a shit way to get numbers on your page. It's a really shit way to get numbers on your page. And it's always that mixed feeling kind of thing about that aspect alone, let alone the art side of what they do and what they've meant to so many people, especially the people that, either get to know them or have followed them along the way for a long time too. It's just really one of those bizarre things.
That's always good for record sales, mate. Always has been.
It is. Yeah, that's always. And streaming will go up through the roof for those three artists this coming week. So, that's what's going to happen in that regard. We know how it all works, and that's the way of it. But, someone put a comment up, I forget where, but, it's not the point is not to live forever. The point is to make something that lasts forever, kind of thing. And that's kind of pertinent, I think, when it comes to artists. And if they've touched you in some way, shape, or form, and they've left a mark on your life, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. All the other stuff that we talk about is just opinions out of arseholes at the end of the day. How people feel about things is what's important. And these artists have made people feel, which is something that not many people can say about themselves in the world to the scale those people have done it. So there we go on that. Go and get to some comments here. Dean said, rest in peace, Mike, Joey, and Dusty, all shocking news. Yeah, it's been one hell of a week. And Helen sort of also about, the other weird one this week was Dieter Brummer, which that might be for per se, but that was a thing, and he was only 46, I think, as well, or something. He wasn't old at all. And so, yeah, this question of also very young, talking about mental health. So in the context of Dieter Brummer, there's definitely a mental health aspect in that, because it was a welfare check that found him, but so on and so forth. So that's another, like we had that with Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington recently, in recent years as well. So that is still a thing that needs to be addressed, and all this stuff as well. I don't think any of these ones were the case, these three, but it's still that's also something that's creeping up on a lot of artists as well. Sally's jumped in to say hi, so good to see you here, Sally. Same with Benjamin Payne on YouTube. Thanks for jumping in.
Hey,
Dean also said ZZ Top, one of the greatest blues-based rock and roll bands ever. Dusty was very underrated in my eyes. Joey is one of the greatest drummers up there for me as a drummer myself. Very sad, especially at 46 with a lot more to give. He was so entertaining, the music will live forever. So some good audience feedback here as well. Benjamin said, Metal Church, Joey, ZZ, it's been a brutal week for real. Yes, it definitely has. Jordan on Facebook, g'day boys, cheers. Thank you for jumping in with us here. Helen had some words for you there, Brendan. Hey, Brendo, I like the fact you're not afraid to say I do not really know their music, etc. Kudos. I think, yeah, that's all of us at some point in time because we all like to educate ourselves as we go through this one. Benjamin said, early Easy's like early Fleetwood Peter Green. Little known but totally brilliant. Yeah, I'll pay that. That's a good way to put it. What else?
Read that catalogue too, ZZ Tops. If you go back to the start, it's fucking phenomenal. We should do
a special on them at some point. I reckon that's another band we've got to add to the list.
Yeah,
there's a lot. Yeah. Tim Caterson, Mike Howe was the one that hit me the hardest. I'm just glad I had the chance to meet him and finally see the band play live. Yeah, we were talking about that when I released the full thing. Get a much more appreciation, or much greater appreciation of just how much this band meant to Tim. So it was great to have him. It actually makes it even more fitting that he was a part of the special that's coming up because we don't normally have that going on. We managed to rope Tim into it, and yeah, to have that as part of the process is actually really refreshing because me and Dave aren't really that familiar with the band before this process, and Tim has been with them from early days. So it's one of those things. So yeah, condolences to you, man. I know that one's going to hit you hard. Darren says, me too, as a fit guy, so it was completely unexpected, hopefully not COVID or vaccine related. I don't think any of those things are the case here. I think there's just sudden deaths that have happened. To change the tune a bit, Benjamin's gone, shit, I see guitars, lots and lots of guitars. That green one with the maple fretboard, I would love to see it up close.
That can be arranged.
Well, I'll leave that to you for a second. What are we going here? Dean said with Dusty, they said they will continue with that. Apparently, the drummer just did an interview in the States in the last couple of hours. Just saw the article. Yeah, that is there. Brendan jumped in to say they may be gone, but all you need to do, remember, is press play. That's very, very true. And right after midnight, I've jumped in as well saying evening, lads. So if you're watching us tonight and you want to jump in at any point, then let us know your favourite songs from these artists as well, your favourite songs, your favourite memories, favourite music videos, all that sort of stuff. So I'm going to try and put something together for not this coming Saturday, but for next Saturday, just sort of paying a little bit of mini tribute for the three that have gone. Maybe not Mike House so much, as unfortunately there is 2 hours of it coming up this Saturday night, but maybe for Joey and for Dusty, I might try and do something for the week after. So let us know your favourite clips in there, and I'll see if I can squeeze them in for the TV broadcast in another week or so. Is there anything else anyone to add to that, or shall we get on to some fun?
Yeah, let's lift that.
Let's press on.
Let's press on. All right, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's do this one. Our first review for tonight is from a band called Mordred. So I'm going to put a link in the comments now, or you can find it in the description or the post. But if you can't see the comments, whatever, then just look for a band called Mordred, and the song is All Eyes on the Prize. That is your reference track for the next, or our first review for tonight. So that said, let's go to it. This is Mordred with The Dark Parade. 8 tracks, 39 minutes. The fourth studio album from the American band, released July 2021 via M Theory Audio. Mixed by Matt Winnegar. 3 singles have been released, including Demonic No. 7 and Malignancy. This is the band's first studio album in 27 years, although they did release an EP in 2020. Got a big thank you to Lee McDonald in our THRS lounge. He was the one that really wanted to bring this to it. It wasn't on my list, and so he's gone, this one's coming out tomorrow. And so we thought, okay, well, we'll go and check it out, and let's see how we go, because he did say thank you in our Facebook post for us including it, and was curious to see how we're going to go with the review. So let's get into it. Brendan, how did you go?
I enjoyed it. Well, hang on. No, I did enjoy it, but it's again, I had no history with the band. I knew nothing what I was kind of going to get into, and it's interesting. It's tough to pigeonhole because, it's quite thrashy at moments. It's quite sort of bouncy at moments, and it even gets sort of Limp Bizkit-y at moments, where there's a bit of sort of scratching and carry on. So, to be honest, I only ran through this one a couple of times. It made me want to listen to their back catalogue to have some kind of reference. Because I'm tipping these guys are probably in their 50s now, and it feels kind of weird to be releasing this kind of stuff in your 50s. But I thought it sounded great. Good, captured really well. Good mix, pretty lively. I said bouncy. I don't think it's going to be anyone's favorite album, although I do always like to think that every album is someone's favorite album somewhere. Look, it's probably not something I'll go back to a lot, but I enjoyed it for what it is. One of those things you'd never turn it off. It's a pretty happy, pretty easy listen. I found it was. I imagine it's a shame Dave's not here because he would have fucking hated it. I'm sure.
He would have been this heartbeat.
But I dug it. Like I said, it didn't change my life, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was really well done, really well captured, really well performed, put together well. Nothing was overplayed. There isn't too much. Like I said, the Limp Bizkit will frighten people off, but there's not too much of it that will scare off a rustling metalhead. They'll probably just roll their eyes at that point. But yeah, look, I thought it was cool. I gave it 7.5 out of 10. All Eyes on the Prize and Malignancy were my highlights, which were singles, you were saying. So that's
they're singles.
I normally don't like singles. So
no. There you go. All right. Tim, what about you?
I actually think this will be someone's favorite album. Just because it is so weird and out there that there's going to be some oddball out there that just gravitates towards it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the thing. The thing is it's not like Frank Zappa weird, where there's like a million notes an hour. It's like as you said, there's the Limp Bizkit-y, 2-note chugs with DJ scratches, but then there's also like a mariachi cha-cha a few songs later.
Yeah.
And all played in like the context of like this experimental thrash album.
It makes a weird bit of sense once you get used to it.
Yeah, and again, it's amazing that it flows this well. But again, it's not done in like a 12-foot ninja kind of way either. Where they've kind of, all the songs are written in context with different styles. Like all the songs are kind of separate from each other, but all come together in their own way, which is, when you think about it, pretty remarkably well done. I'm curious to go back and listen to back catalogs because, again, first album in how many years was it? 27. So the first albums would have been written pre-Limp Bizkit. Which is like it's like they've written a riff 20 years ago and then decided to finally release it.
That's possible.
Now. But yeah, it's pretty good. Also, the cover is pretty. I like the cover. The cover's great.
That's good artwork. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got this kind of it's like zombies in New Orleans kind of vibe, which is pretty funky. So yeah, very cool. 8 out of 10. It's definitely worth a listen for everybody because, again, it's not going to be for everybody, but there's so much stuff thrown against the wall that there's a chance that anybody could actually like it. So, and Malignancy was my highlight. So, 8 out of 10.
Cool. This is odd. It's one of those ones where context is important, I think, and having no context, and I put the first spin on, and I was like, this isn't doing a lot for me. But once you dig into it a bit more and give it a couple more, like another spin after the first one, so you get your head around the first one, okay, this is not, I had no idea what I was expecting, and just comes out with a lot. It's like, okay, let's go back again and try and, you're in for this time around. So if you're new to this band, give it more than one pass because it does grow on you. It's got one of those things where it's got a bit of infectiousness about it, which it's not world-beating for me, but it does become better than your first impression once you get to take it and appreciate it a bit. It's got a weird crossover thrash thing going on. It's funny that Tim mentioned the New Orleans stuff in the artwork because the New Orleans vibe is kind of in there a bit too. If you know that musical style, it's like it did feel a bit like the I don't know what it's called. A Cinco de Mayo. Is that the night in Mexico where they celebrate the dead and stuff like that? They got the big parade.
Day of the Dead.
Yeah, I think Day of the Dead.
Day of the Dead. Yeah, it felt a bit like that. Or something you would expect to come out of that in that regard. Very interesting release. It's got that crossover thrash, alternative new metal kind of stuff mixed in there as well. It's got riffs, solos, synth work, turntables, a semi-spoken vocal, but it's all got a lot of melody in there as well with some hooks and interesting riffs. Got some good chugging stuff in there. I don't know. The turntables actually weren't too bad for the most part. I do want to say, like in Malignancy, they really did help to build that before the solo came in, the tension building moment. The turntables did a really, really good job in collaborating within the song kind of a thing. But then on the flip side of that, dragging for bodies felt like he was justifying his job in the band because there were these weird scratches just came fucking way over the top that were just unrequired, and I just didn't think the mix was right in that regard. If it was back a bit as a subtle effect, it would have been okay, but when it just came bang, it was like there was no point to that. It did nothing for the song whatsoever. So it's a bit of a hit and miss affair in that regard for me, but overall, it was very tastefully done. The subject matter being covered in lyrics is really interesting. There's some deeper stuff in there than you expect when you get into it as well. Like I said, cool riffs, some nice lead work. It's a bit sparing, but there is some pretty cool lead work in there as well. And then you get to the Dark Parade, which just brings that Latin rhythm and bass, that mariachi kind of thing going on. Gives that urban feel, that Cinco de Mayo feel I was talking about before. They did that really well. It gave you, like, it's called the Dark Parade, and it made you feel like you're at a parade or a carnival. It was a really well done song. I actually really enjoyed that one. Good mix. It suited what was going on for the most part, apart from that one trick I mentioned before. But it's got that little bit of nastiness with just enough polish in it. It's got a really good thing. But the little effect, there's a background effect on All Eyes on the Prize, shows a nice amount of attention to detail, which is really cool in that one as well. Like I was saying, once you get past your initial sort of shock or surprise, it's actually a little bit of fun. It'll come down to taste, and mine isn't strictly geared toward this one. I can certainly appreciate it for what it is. It's very well put together, and it shouldn't flow as well as it does, this album. It really does flow remarkably well for what it is. It's a weird thing. I don't know how they did it, but they did it very well. It's a hard line to walk, but they did pull it off. I also liked the little Southern guitar touch on the closing track. It was a bit of a good closing way to wrap up the album. The story and the vocal feel like a bit of a Thin Lizzy influence on that one as well. So it does go all over the joint. It's about crossover thrash, new metal, mariachi and Thin Lizzy. There's a fucking bit of everything. So check it out. It's going to be one you have to listen to for yourself to make up your own mind. But for me, I gave it a 7 out of 10. The Dark Parade, All Eyes on the Prize, and Smash Goes the Bottle, which is that closing track that I really did enjoy that one as well. So there you go on that. So we've got some cool comments coming through. All right. Benjamin Payne jumped in to say, really old school. Damn, I feel old now, lol. So there we go with that. It is funny that, you mentioned that releasing new music how many years late, new metal music is sort of a bit weird this many years on, but it is done. Brendan said that it's a breath of fresh air within the compressed new wave of thrash movement, which is relatively true, actually. A lot of the bands start to sound alike after all. It's one that does jump out for that. Our good friend Tim Cadison, Mordred's 89 album, Fool's Game, is excellent. Very unique in its day with the funk elements mixed with thrash. I am curious enough now to go and check it out like you guys are.
Yeah. That sounds good. Funk thrash.
Yep. Yep, that could be interesting. Darren Humphrey said voodoo funk thrash, which is another good way to put it too. Benjamin also said, which will piss off Dave. So here we go. So it's not like Sananga where you just seems to get worse the more you hear it. No, this one is the opposite effect of that. Definitely the opposite effect of that. What else we got here? Helen's gone on. Yeah, did you really?
Yeah. Don't ask me why.
Okay, that's an interesting one. All right. Helen said, I'm not too sure if that clip for All Eyes in particular detract from the music, maybe just me. I haven't actually watched the clips, so I can't actually tell you. I just picked that one because it was the most recent track released from the band. We'll get to some favourites on that toward the end of this one as well, because some favourites from the hot topic we were talking about before.
So just a question for guys watching. When you say, like, funk thrash, is it like anything like, Infectious Grooves, or like completely different?
That's interesting. Yeah, that's how do people define that subgenre? Would be interesting, isn't it? That'd be an interesting.
Yeah, because I've heard all the Infectious Groove stuff. Is it anything like that, or is it like a totally different kind of funky thrash?
Yeah, interesting. That okay. If there's anyone out there wants to get involved in that, then get in the comments and give us your feedback on that. Because, funk, thrash, crossover things is not my traditional wheelhouse. So I'm not going to try
outside of Infectious Grooves, you don't really hear it all that much.
No, and I think that for me, the closest I get as a personal taste listening to a band like Living Colour, which I wouldn't put in the same category, but that's sort of as close as my general taste run.
There was one local grindcore band about 10 years ago, and I cannot remember the name of the band. I cannot remember the name of the album, but they did release like a funk grindcore song called Funky Kong.
Okay.
Based on like the Donkey Kong character. And it was
okay, I'm gonna Google
brilliant. I have no idea the band. I have no idea the EP. I have no idea, but whatever it is, if you can find it out there, you fucking. It's a great track. But yeah. But yeah, like Pig Destroyer blast beats into like a funky little Red Hot Chili Peppers breakdown.
Sada Baby, does that sound that right?
Fucking, I have no idea.
I don't know. I'm going to. This could be dangerous. I'm hitting something on YouTube that's going to fucking give me AIDS, I'm sure. But it's
something's called Funky Kong. That's the only thing I remember. They're an Australian band.
Yeah, it's Funky Kong. This band is Sada Baby. I have no idea what's going on with this. But
follow you home like you Sonic got tails on you.
No.
Act like you get the fuck back. Call of Duty real life.
I don't think that's right.
No.
That doesn't sound.
We'll find out after the show.
I don't know.
Yeah. And don't play that ever
anymore.
Again, whatever that was.
No, I won't. I've already closed the tab. That can fuck off. I don't know what that was. This is where you don't know what you're looking for. You find something you think is approximate. And yeah, it's funny because Helen's gone, I only know Donkey Kong. And when I did search for it, all I found was fucking Donkey Kong. So if anyone out there knows what that is, let us know.
There's like a full Kong family. There's the Donkey Kong, there's the Grandpa Kong, Diddy Kong.
Kong Jr.
Kong Jr. Baby Kong.
Yeah, true. Benjamin said Green Jelly had a couple of funky songs as well.
That's true.
That's true.
I have not stopped listening to The Silence of the SquarePants since we reviewed it.
Okay, cool.
So for my, that is just the best.
Nice. Very nice. It actually is one here. Brendan said funk thrash with a whole thrown in like some Stuck Mojo. That'd be an interesting.
Oh, yeah. Okay. They got a bit of that. Yeah,
cool. A bit of that in there as well. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. You can all sort of jump into with your comments and thoughts as we go along. The next one is from a band called Eradicator, and the song you're looking for is Driven by Illusion. There is a link in the comments or in the description of the post, whatever you want to do to find it. But the band is Eradicator. The song is Driven by Illusion, and we're going to talk about that one now. So this is Eradicator with Influence Denied. 10 tracks, 47 minutes, the fifth studio album from the German band, released July 2021 by Metalville. Produced by the band with Sebastian Sieb Lieberman. 3 singles have been released, including Mondays for Murder and Echo Chamber. Our good friend Tim Caterson highlighted this one in last week's releases, so we figured we'd give this one a spin. We're having a bit of a quieter patch at the moment, so we're having a chance to go into these deep, the purpose of these deep cuts, actually, ultimately, when you start thinking about the format for the Thursdays. So, we figured we'd give it a go. Tim, how'd you go?
I love this. This is great.
Okay, cool.
Just got a slap in the face from start to finish, which is exactly what I want. I thought the guitars sounded tremendous, particularly when they were low and chuggy, which was cool. And again, vocals just sat in that nice little sweet spot. Again, this was really hard to fault.
Cool.
Yeah, just a good, solid, modern thrash album where it was a bit more like if you're kind of in the kind of like old Creator kind of mode. That kind of style of thrash for mine. Creator kind of, yeah. So if you're a fan of that kind of stuff, then definitely check this one out. For lots of double beats, chugging, double time stuff. So they're really cool. Yeah, Hate Preach, Influence Denied were my 2 highlights. And 8.5 out of 10.
Nice. All right. Brendan, what about you?
I liked it a lot too. Relentless thrash album without being monotonous. It was, you can fall into that trap sometimes when you're going for that kind of, it's short of speed metal. It's definitely kind of a thrash album, but you can sort of fall where the listen becomes long and boring, and it sure as shit ain't that.
No, it's not.
It's really good. Like I said, the guitars particularly sound fucking incredible. The drums sound really nice. If I do have a complaint, it's the bass I thought was too low. It was sort of almost sliding into sort of Justice category. Not that bad, but I thought I probably would have had a bit more low end on it. But the guitars were crisp as hell. We sort of covered that, much like it does on Justice. The guitars sound so bloody good that you can sort of gloss over that. But that's a very, very small complaint, and that was just my ears. So judge for yourself, because this is a bloody good thrash album.
Cool.
Vocals sound good. They don't fall into that contrived German shit show that annoys me.
It's not pure Teutonic metal. Yeah.
No, and it's to be honest, I was with, again, having no history with the band, surprised to find out they were German. I didn't go back and sort of do any research until afterwards. No, I loved it. If you like, what's that?
No.
No, okay, cool. No, loved it. 501 and Hate Preach were my highlights. I gave it 8 out of 10. I thought it was a really, really cool album.
It is solid. If you like thrash at all, this is one you got to check out. This band has plenty to say in its lyrical content as well, which is where you make it, it becomes fun when you think about it being a band from Germany, but you don't pick up on that in the lyrics or the vocals or anything like that at all. Like, you get Rammstein, you can tell like that. These guys, if these were an up-and-coming Bay Area band, you wouldn't blink twice, kind of a thing. They do fit that mold nicely, but there's more to it than just that as well. But I loved the tones on this one. I thought the opening riff was cool in this album. And I thought the bass had a bit of a nasty edge to it. So I actually enjoyed what they did with that. So I don't know. I thought they left. I get what you mean about the guitar tones. Yeah, but I thought that the way they left space, especially when they because what was cool about it was they weren't just non-stop belting away at the guitar. They left space for things like the bass and the drums to come through. And that gave it a bit more groove to this as well, and I thought that aspect was really, it worked well on this one. So I thought, the production was pretty good on this one. I liked how they used things like acoustic guitar underneath of solos and stuff. It filled it out like a piano almost would on this. And I thought, it's got nice crunch. This whole thing kicks, no clipping, and the vocals were a bit back, which worked well in the context because it's that pitched semi-scream kind of vocal, and having it back a bit with a bit of reverb applied to make it, sort of push through to the front just enough was really nice. And like I was saying, the lyrics, there's plenty to say and you can make out everything that's going on. So they did a really good job balancing this one out. Like I was saying before, I love the groove against the riffs. That was really cool on this. And if you like drum fills and riffs, this is one for you for sure. The little touch of things like the dial-up internet tone at the end of Echo Chamber was very fitting, especially in light of the song context, like the lyrics and the meaning of the song. That was a very nice touch there. And also there was some really cool solos in this one as well. Like if you just like metal or thrash, you're just going to enjoy this one. The melody in 501 was really cool, and it leans more into melody. Like, that's probably the song that leans most into melody, which is the nice touch on this one. And I don't know, and the use of the gang vocals for impact was cool on this too. Like, there were some awesome riffs. Like Jackals to the Chains, the breakdown riff there was fucking amazing. And the same on Hypocrite, because when they changed gears in that song, that was really cool too. Overall, like, it's hard to, like, someone made the comment earlier on that, that Mordred were, refreshing in this, world of thrash. It's got a lot of the same stuff going on. This doesn't break the mold, but it does enough to get your attention by a fair bit. It's very well done. So if you're a fan of that metal, get onto it. I gave it an 8 out of 10. I really did enjoy it as well. Echo Chamber, Jackals to Chains, and Hypocrite were my standouts on this one. Okay. Getting some comments coming through, so we're going to go to them now. Where have we got here? Mark is jumping in on Facebook to say, Jody, look what's on tonight. So there's a shout out for both of you. Hopefully you're enjoying the show. Helen said, loving the new jargon, double beach thrash. What the fuck? If I need a lawyer, Tim, you got the goods to make a blind man see. So there you go. What else we got here? All right, we're going to go to this album next. Let's do this. Go on.
I was going to say I've sold sand to people who live in the desert.
Yeah. All right. There we go.
I've kissed a Blarney Stone.
Yes. There you go. All right. we're going to talk about this album next. We're going to get this comment in now. I haven't read this one yet, but anyway. Paul's jumped in on Facebook saying the Osmonds Crazy Horses album is great. It's a shame the teen idol stigma was just too insurmountable for this album to get any traction, though it rightly gets plenty of respect today from the likes of Mike Portnoy and Paul Gilbert. Side note, they were managed by Ed Leffler, who worked as a police liaison for all 3 Beatles tours of the US and eventually wound up managing Sammy Hagar and Van Halen. Well, there you go. There's some history there that I was not aware of because this is a completely new prospect for me, which we'll go to in just a second. So, speaking of it, let's move on to the main event of this week's episode. And it's a shame that our good friend Jeff, or Great Sky on YouTube, isn't with us because he was one that was really, really pushing for this, and a few other people joined in the fray. And so we figured, fuck it, we'll give it a go and see what happens. I think Brendan had some reservations going into it, but we'll see how we went with it in the end. The band, or the artist, in case you don't know, is the Osmonds. And the album is Crazy Horses, which happens to also be the song I'm referencing to you all now. So check out the comments, check out the description or the post, whatever it is for that song, or just search for the Osmonds Crazy Horses. That is your reference track for our next album, which, funnily enough, is the Osmonds with Crazy Horses. 12 tracks for 34 minutes, the 4th studio album from the American group, released October 1972 by MGM, produced by Alan Osmond and Michael Lloyd. 2 singles were released in Hold Her Tight and the title track. The album peaked number 14 in the US, number 9 in the UK, number 37 here in Australia, while also doing moderately well in Canada and Europe. It's since been certified platinum in the US, and this was the second album of a more rock phase for this musical family group, and has been pushed for, like I was saying, by the audience joining in and jumping into the comments on some previous live streams. So, fuck it. Here we go. Brendan, how did you go in the end? Because you had some trepidation.
Of course I did. Fucking Osmonds. But yeah, I think I probably, like most people, I mean, my trepidations were based purely in what the image of the Osmonds conjures, which is, you know, Donnie Marie in fucking, you know, matching suits singing shit songs. You know. And there's more teeth than anything else going on. Fucking ivory dealers were excited when the fucking Osmonds came on stage. Yeah. So, you know, I'll admit I had some preconceived ideas of what I was getting into. So I was absolutely pleasantly surprised because this is actually a really good album.
Okay. There you go.
Couldn't have been any further from what I was bloody expecting. Yeah. If you asked me to name an Osmond song, I would have said Puppy Love, which is a fucking Donny Osmond ballad, which, you know, should be forgotten about pretty bloody quickly because it's awful. This is good. This is a really good album. It just really sort of surprised me. It's sort of, dare I say, even sort of early ZZ Top, even sort of leaning into maybe a bit of CCR at some point. It's cool.
Yeah, I kind of get it, but not sometimes.
It's well played. It's well written. There are ballads on here that drag it right down, unfortunately. That's kind of where the wheels really fall off. But, yeah, some of the tracks are really solid. I like the guy's voice because it's not Donnie singing. It's his brother Joey Jojo or something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's cool. And it's quite raw. And I'm surprised, you know, when Osmond's rock album, I was expecting sort of like a, you know, when you get a Christmas rock album, it's like, yeah, that ain't. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, this is definitely a rock album and it deserves its place. I imagine there must have been some serious infighting in this fucking family when they went and started making TV shows and dragged them away from this, because I bet you the guys in this band were probably wanted to be a legitimate fucking rock band, and, you know, instead they end up a variety act. And that must have really hurt. It must have really hurt. But I thought it was cool. It's well played. It's pretty gritty. The music, it's not. It couldn't have been further from what I was expecting. So it was certainly a pleasant surprise. It is something I will probably listen to again, to be honest. And I'll probably check out their other rock albums just out of curiosity, because I far from hated it. I quite enjoyed it. I loved Life is Hard Enough Without Goodbyes. I thought it was a great blues-driven track. Hold Her Tight in Utah as well. I give it a 7.5 out of 10 pretty confidently. Like I said, the ballads dragged it down. It's a real shame they should have been on there. It would have been much better without it.
Yep. All right. Cool. Tim, how did you go?
This is the Ozzy Osbourne of Ned Flanders.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yep.
Like this, now I have no idea who the fuck the Osmonds are, right? Straight up, no fucking idea. You're talking about a variety hour. I have no fucking idea. I googled them beforehand, reviewing the album, and they reminded me of like there was this family that we used to bang back at work, back in the old job. This family we used to serve, we used to call them the Flanders family, just because they reminded us of like a religious incest cult. Yeah. And that's basically what this group looked like.
Accurate.
So I don't know if there was infighting, but there was probably in something.
It's a lot of teeth.
Yeah, it's Ned Flanders rock. This is the defanging of rock and roll, where it went from being this kind of cool, dangerous thing to the thing that your grandmother listened to. This is the Beatles playing Maxwell's Silver Hammer. This is the entire Eagles catalog. And I mentioned incest, and the irony is the Carpenters are way more rock and roll than this.
Oh. Okay.
We were talking about great drummers. Karen Carpenter is a fucking badass, and there ain't no badassery on this.
That's true. I'll pay that.
That's true.
Most exciting thing about this was thinking about going back to Utah, maybe so I could relive the Book of Mormon play.
Well, they were Mormons too, weren't they? I think. Maybe. Well,
I'm not sure.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense. Let's. How do I put this? Like, they've managed to take like funky songs and make them sound like a military march. Like,
you're being hard.
Like, it's just so like straight. It's just.
Oh, I don't know about that.
It's snap to the grid without being snap to the grid. Like,
there was no grid.
It's incredible. It's really incredible. So,
grid.
Yeah. Well, snap to the Utah grid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even John Stockton has told him to loosen up a little bit. So, anyways, why are we doing this? Okay. Like,
you know what?
This is like, no, but the thing is like, this is not a 50s rock and roll band, right? This is the 70s. Like,
early.
We've already heard Are You Experienced at this point. We're going back to this. Like, that's why I'm confused at the context. Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah. Like, I mean, like, where's the. Like, this is rock and roll for your grandparents. It's rock and roll for your parents. There's no danger to it. There's no excitement to it. Like, there's no, like. This explains the entire disco era, because if you're listening to this, then the Village People must seem like fucking Cannibal Corpse. So, yeah. My highlight track is actually going back to Utah just because it's so hilariously backwards, considering it's a town founded by Mormons, so how can I be going back to it? You know, it's amazing that Karl Malone played so long for Utah, like, considering that guys. Yeah, anyway, you know where I'm going with this.
Yep.
From downtown, John Stockton himself will be proud.
Fucking hell. All right.
One last thing, too, actually. One last thing. Crazy Horses, right? So I had it in my mind, right?
Yeah.
There's an album from Zach Wild, Black Label Society. I can't remember if the album's called Crazy Horse, but it opens with a track called Crazy Horse, right? And it is a perfect Black Label Society song in the sense that there's a fat groove, a fat catchy riff, and a great chorus, right? And even now, I've just got that song in my head, right? And you can't imagine my disappointment. When in my head, I'm just hearing Zach Wild, but my reality is so different.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. Thoughts in.
Yeah, that's my speech.
You feel better? You got it off your chest?
Yeah, I did that.
Good, Ben. All right. Yeah, I know of the group, not a great deal. They're sort of that thing where, you reference things like the Seekers, the Carpenters, but this is much more sort of Monkeys than any of that sort of stuff, although I will say the Monkeys probably more rock cred than this group do overall. This is odd. There are some very interesting left and right turns across this album. This is definitely I feel like this is a bit more 60s influenced than 70s influenced in the way this has come across, but they have sort of ridden the edge of those 2 decades a bit on this one. It's funny because there are songs in this that make you feel like, fuck, they're a good rock band. And then there are other songs who sit there and go, okay, I'm just waiting for Torn Between Two Lovers to come out of this one. This is very, it goes a bit all over the joint in that regard. The rock part of this is more blues based, which is, we're referencing the older stuff, but they've also got a little bit of a surfer touch in there as well, and then you got that really a bit of a nastier thing, which you would expect from bands like Creedence, which Brennan mentioned before as well. So you got it's a weird melting pot to put all this together. When it gets going, you got rhythmic drums, you got brass sections all over this. There's piano and the like. Not exactly loads of guitar. When they do use guitar and it gets a bit angry, like not that it's really angry, but they use a bit of edge or bite in it. It's actually not bad. I think the mix is pretty good overall, and this has held up pretty bloody well for a 72 record. It's got those classic tones, the classic panning, and all those things. If you think about, Beatles records, this is what is sort of in that wheelhouse. It sounds like that, not as well produced as the Beatles. I think they were, the benchmark for a lot of things at that time, but it's in that wheelhouse. But the thing is, though, that you mentioned the Beatles, and there are songs on this that feel like direct rip-off of what the Beatles will be doing at the same time as well. I think there's a trick they put on the song "Girl" with that dining room vibe going on in the background, which is pretty cool. What else? And the song "What Could It Be" with the double tracking is what I'm thinking of when it comes to, you think about classic Beatles tracks, and that was, that throwback element in there as well. It's funny that people like, we know Jeff, we know he loves progressive stuff like Rush and all that, and I can see why he pushed this one, because there are those progressive elements to it without it being hard to digest either. The hard part to digest about this is the dramatic gear changes as opposed to the composition. The mood changes in this are just something else. It feels like, it almost, like you were talking before about how you felt like they would have had a shit fight going from this into the TV sort of thing. And I feel like in the making of this, there was still a bit of a shit fight going on, because there are some rock songs, and then you got the pure ballads. This is like one of those albums that's really trying to cater to all tastes, and probably not quite just honing in on one and going, we're going to do that. It's not bad, but it gets a bit crazy in the end. But the funny thing is that the title track on this one, Crazy Horses, I want to know what the fuck drugs they were taking when they were doing that one. I know they're Mormons and whatever else, but Jesus, what the fuck? Like that wow at the very, very beginning and like through the chorus, just what the hell? And in the video, it's the start of the thing, and it's just what the fuck is that? Like, if that's as close as you can get to a horse, when you had dining room sounds before, I would have thought you just, get a John Wayne clip or something in there to fill that moment out. But anyway, that was odd. But at the same time, the song itself is really, really catchy, and it makes you feel dirty, because it's one of those ones where it's like, fuck, I don't want to like it, but I do. And so it's one of those things that, it's got a good solo in it, got a cool riff, all this sort of stuff there as well. And the other thing about most of these songs is that the lyrics are pretty well crafted too. There's some good storytelling going on in this one. And when they get the groove going, you get your toe tapping, it's that insidiously infectious kind of stuff, which goes, fuck, it's one of those ones where I can't be like Tim. I want to dislike it, but I can't, because it is better than you think it's going to be. But at the same time, there are, like has been said, some serious flat spots on this one too, though. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. It is a bit odd at the end of the day, but it is interesting, if nothing else. But the closing track, that 30-second thing at the very end of the album, Big Finish, that's just what the fuck? What the hell was that? I have no idea what's going on with that. But all right, that kind of sums it up for me. And it's kind of where it's at. I'm not going to be cruel to this one because there are aspects of this that I enjoy, but it's one of those ones where you sit there and go, I'm not quite sure what they were trying to achieve at the same time, so it confused me a little bit. I don't know. It's one of those ones where I'll pick certain tracks, and none of this is – the thing is that none of it's offensive to listen to. Like, you put it on, and it's a product of the ear in a lot of respects, and it sounds good. You know, I don't know, if it wasn't such a roller coaster of – weird peaks with some incredible flat spots. If they picked a gear and stayed there, you'd be able to take it in a bit easy. But they just go really from one extreme to the other pretty rapidly. It's interesting stuff. I'm not sure, but it is one that if it comes on again, I'll go, I know this one, and then you'll sort of leave it playing for a while. It's not going to be ones you turn off either. So it's odd. I don't know. Anyway, I gave it a 6 out of 10. Really interesting one to take in. It is worth checking out if you want something a bit different. But I'm not sure how many people will win over. We checked it out. We gave it a listen, and I don't know. It still left me confused, but it gave me I was driving home when Crazy Horses came on for the first time, and I started laughing. I was going, "What the fuck is that?" It's one of those moments. But then you listen to the song, it's like, actually, there's more to it than that. So it's one of those kind of records. You put it on, you go, "What the hell?" And then you listen to it more deeply, and it's like, okay, makes more sense. So yeah, 6 out of 10 from me. Crazy Horses, Utah, and What Could It Be were my standouts on this one. So yeah, we've got some interesting comments coming out of this, which you can all probably guess. So where are we going here?
This is like when we did the Torture albums, and someone suggests Yoko Ono, and everyone votes for it because they know we're in for a shit fight.
Yoko is much worse than this.
Possibly the worst thing.
The same score, so.
Yoko was bad. Helen jumped in with a comment saying, "Are they the Greta Van Fleets of brothers that have finally cut the apron strings?" I suspect it's a yes. I think you feel like on this one they tried to cut the apron strings.
I still think Greta are better than these guys.
More consistent in their album craft, I'll say that. I don't know about better, especially on the last album. I don't know. I'd probably listen to this one over the last Greta Van Fleet album, to be honest.
There's one that I still like that opening track of the last Greta Van Fleet album.
Yeah, but this album's overall more interesting than the last Greta Van Fleet album.
Yeah.
More mentally engaging.
Tim says reluctantly, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about interesting. I don't know about that.
Yeah, okay, well, yeah. Horses for courses, Anyway, Sally goes, I was really surprised. Just listening to Crazy Horses, but it was cool. We'll be looking at the rest of the album. It is an interesting album to take in. David jumped in to say, fuckers, love this shit. Glad to have you with us. And Dean said, yes, Saints. I think the mixed review is coming through. We have confirmation they are Mormons. What else we got here? What do we got? Sally said, Tim doesn't know them from the variety show. I was expecting fruity, semi-brainwashed pish. I was surprised with the John Lord thing on the keyboard. Could have gone to hell for that sort of musical fury. They were letting it hang way out. So, yeah, having not I can imagine that, yeah, going from what they were known for to this is an interesting one. Helen also jumped in to say the Osmonds were a product of their parents in their era, which is probably kind of true.
Yeah, they're going from Simpsons Christmas Boogie to the Trash Man.
It's an interesting one. I am glad we checked it out, though, because it's always fun to do these ones where you go, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen next. And so this is why we use them on the deep cuts format, because they're the ones that are a bit more interesting to have a bit of time with and see how things play out. But, yeah, interesting listen. I do want to quickly jump back in before we start moving on to the bin and all sorts of stuff to wrap things up. We did get some comments. We asked for people to shoot through favourite songs, albums, whatever else from the 3 rockers that have passed away this week. So I do have some of those here. I'm just going to quickly scroll back through to find those comments that were saying that they let us know their favourites, which is cool. So if you want to get in now with that, what your favourites are from Mike Howe, Joey Jordison and or Dusty Hill, then let us know now, because this is the time I'm going to start rattling through the comments of these ones here. Not that there's heaps, but there are a couple I saw come through and I wanted to acknowledge them before we moved on with it. So sorry, bear with me for half a second while I just get on with it. What else we got here? So Dean said, personal favorites from Slipknot, The Devil and I, Metal Church, ZZ Top, Give Me All Your Lovin', LaGrange, Sharp Dressed Man, and I Got to Get Paid. Yeah, I Got to Get Paid was a surprising later track from them. That was a good one later on. What else we got here? Like I said, there weren't too many, but they are buried back in here, so I got to find them, unfortunately, which is where the fun kicks into these ones. I thought there was another one. I might have missed it. I don't know how. I apologise. I'm missing.
Joey playing The Devil and I? I thought Joey had already left the band by that point.
Don't know. I'm not entirely over it. That's more your wheelhouse than mine, unfortunately. I don't know. I don't know. I can't find the other comment right now, so my apologies. But yeah, if you still want to get in, then let us know in the comments whenever you're tuning in. If you're watching later on, then yeah, keep commenting. Let us know your favorite songs from those three artists that we've talked about at the beginning of the episode. So we'll start wrapping things up before we go to the bin. So make sure you're following us, our details, like everyone else, and all. Like, follow, subscribe. I mean, everyone tells you to do the same thing, but it's no different to us. And please share this around too. It's very, very important because that's the best way to grow what we do here and help us get the word out there, because every Sunday we try and talk about a local band as well. So help us get it out there. We have TV for a few more years, but this is obviously the way of the future, and we love interacting with the audience here. So help get this out there, and we can try and make this as big as absolutely possible. We're not allowed while we have hundreds of thousands of followers or millions of followers. We're much, much smaller than that. So any help you can give us in that regard by liking, commenting, sharing, all that sort of stuff is greatly, greatly appreciated. A big thank you, as always, to our fantastic sponsors in Squidding, Scrimpening, Alt, Cult, and Rockstar Finance. Their details, just like ours, are in the description or the post, whatever you're tuning in on. And, and tune in on Thursday nights, 10:30 p.m. So tonight, in just about an hour from now, Channel 44 in Adelaide, and 10:30 p.m. Saturday nights on Channel 31 in Melbourne. And this coming Saturday is our 2-hour presentation on Metal Church, which will be broken up into 2 weeks over the next following 2 weeks after that, which is tongue twisted, but all right, you get it, for Channel 44, because I don't have the marathon options on Adelaide. And then we'll have some old gold for everyone on Saturday night, which is the Ashes special we did a couple of years ago. We're going to replay that one. And the Iron Maiden special, did A Whole Lot of Love. That's the other one that we're playing on that night as well. So there's a lot going on Saturday night. Quickly here, Dean jumped in to say Eliminator, personal favorite from ZZ Top for Dean. So yeah, I think that one gets a lot of love across the board. It is. On Sunday, we're going to be doing another stream. So Inner Sanatorium are a local Aussie band. We're going to talk about them, along with the latest from Seether, and Dee Snider is dropping a new album tomorrow. So we are definitely going to be talking about that one on Sunday night. We'll have an interview on Tuesday, and another deep cut session next Thursday. And our next special episode after this one on Saturday is going to be about the last decade of rock and metal, to celebrate 10 years of the Hard Rock Show as well. I think that's pretty much all the usual preamble nonsense stuff we've got to get out of the way. But yeah, like I was saying, please like, follow, subscribe. Check out our Patreon page if you want to help us out as well. All those things are there, so you know what to do. But, here we go. Helen's jumped in with ZZ Top. 1973 was a bridge from the 60s laconic hippie into rock, which is, yeah, they did bridge the world very nicely, that band, along their journey there. But yeah, I think it's time for the fun part of the week. I think so. Yes, let's do it. Let's go to the bin. So, Brendan, what have you got for the bin this week?
Anyone that has ever hung shit on anyone for failing at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Me. Go fuck yourself. Like, to train and strive your entire life, and particularly 4 years leading up to an Olympics, and if you misfire or things don't go your way, or heaven forbid you get beaten by someone better, it's not a failure. Christ almighty, the way the bloody media pile on, and then, keyboard warriors, of course, are going to, like, Jesus Christ, give them a break. Not to mention the bloody heartbreak and torment that these people would be going through inside themselves. They don't need a pile on from the rest of you cretins. So
that have done nothing themselves.
You can sit there and be an expert from your couch and pretend you know how to drive a canoe up that fucking white water thing, and most of you couldn't drive a greasy stick up a dog's ass. So go fuck yourselves and get in the bin.
Okay. Well put. Very well put. I completely agree with that one. Tim, what have you got?
Poor email response times.
I'm guilty.
Now, I understand people are busy. I understand
this isn't
people
band
are busy.
related, is it?
No. Well, it was band related that I put myself in the bin. But I'm talking more, just general. But like, just say, look, man, I'm sorry. We'll get back to you when I can.
Mm.
It's as simple as that. Just so people aren't wondering. That's the only thing.
No, that's feedback I take on board. I could do it a lot better. I'm very, very bad at it, and I'm just too. Yeah, I'm shocking at it. I know that. I'm sorry.
I don't even emailed you, so I don't care.
You got a direct fucking line to me. You're not so bad. It's the poor other people out there that I never get to. It's fucked up.
I know your phone number, and I'll be sharing it in the comments later. Yeah.
Please don't. It's busy enough. You haven't even fucking idea how many notifications I get as it is. It's madness. I do see it. I try to get back to it as soon as I can. Yeah, there's some bins coming through from the public as well. Is that all you wanted to say there, Tim, or are you?
Yeah, that's all.
All right. I'll go to the audience in a second. For me, I'm going to put Tommy Vext in the bin. Everyone knows who Tommy Vext is? He was the singer for Bad Wolves for a little while. So last year, I think it was last year. It's hard to tell because lockdown's done things to people's brains. But last year, he went off going full Trump, saying he's never experienced racism in his life. And he's a person of color, being a vocalist and all sorts of stuff. Racism is overrated. It's beat up. So on and so forth, so on and so forth. He did all that stuff when Trump was going fucking batshit crazy, which toward the end of his stint as president, I should say. It's just turned out that he is now suing Bad Wolves and the band's manager for reasons including racism. Get the fuck in here, you flog. Okay? Go and audition for Trapped because I reckon you and him can be best fucking mates. What a fucking joke that is. Get in there. Fuck. What the hell? Oh, I couldn't believe when I saw that.
It's amazing. It's amazing how many people change their minds when something happens to them.
Yeah. Yeah. Once it's personally impacting them, yeah. That old empathy card doesn't go very far at that point in time.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. It broke a couple of days ago there because I remember last year he was going off saying that stuff, and then now he's suing someone for the thing he says doesn't exist. It's just, oh my God, here we go. Went full Trump and tries to do a massive backflip and lands flat on his face. So good luck with that, buddy.
He completed the full Trump then.
Yeah, pretty much. Speaking of failing at the Olympics, I don't think he ever got started.
Bone Spurs, mate.
What was that?
Bone Spurs.
Yeah. Yes. But yeah, that's interesting. All right, what do we got here? So from the audience, okay, before the bin, Nicole said, just wish I could watch from Queensland, referencing the TV shows. I believe you'll be able to, if you check out those online, the channels online, they do have streams going on. I know that there is a app or new sort of on-demand website being launched in the future as well. So keep an eye. So Channel 44 and
Channel 31 definitely stream live.
Yeah.
What's on Netflix, because that's how I watch the show most of the time.
Okay, cool.
So if you jump on the Channel 31 website at the same time they're on Melbourne, you will be able to watch it live.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's still working, so that's good. And, yeah, like I said, they are launching a new platform soon too as well where you can watch it like streaming, and also I think there's some on-demand functions as well. So stick around, follow the channels for that, and then you'll know more about what's happening in that regard. I'm sure we'll talk about it more then too as well. Nudes, bin, Sydney, 4-week lockdown causing Nunchucker Superfly to have to can the Adelaide gig. There's a lot of that going on, unfortunately. So I do feel for you there, mate. Dean, the bin for me is the government's not caring about putting money to help the arts entertainment industry. Yes, definitely big problem, that one. That's criminal what they're doing at the moment, to be honest. What else we got here? Helen says, in the bin, filthy radio announcer supporting vaccines to women because they will go up in bra size. Okay. I saw the article. I didn't know it was being spruiked on radio. That's a bit out there. That's a bit silly. Brendan says, the 1 out of 5 new vinyl pressings have quality issues. So there we go. Has anyone run into that? I haven't run into that.
I think there's a lot of like releases of stuff that are just like we've been talking about, and they have where they've remastered things for CD, and then rather than remastering them back for vinyl, they've just released them for the CD master on vinyl.
Yeah,
and then and then things aren't quite as good as they should be.
Yeah. Interesting one, that one. That will balance itself out in time, I think. It's just a matter of getting some things that had worked out, sort of like, rediscovering technology that's abandoned for a while, so that'll eventually become a more relevant thing. They just need to do a remaster on most of those ones. But, yeah, it is an issue, especially because the costs are pretty bloody high at the moment, too. That's where it gets a bit more frustrating for people, I imagine, out there as well. It is not cheap. Helen's gone in the bin that we're not swilling at a local bar and talking shit. Well, yeah, we are looking forward to the days where we can get out there and do that much more often than we are currently. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Get yourself looked after, do all the right things, and hopefully we can get through all this shit as soon as possible, and we'll go back to that. That'll be the ideal outcome. But yeah, is there anything else anyone else wanted to say before we sign off for the night?
I think we're playing at the Bendy on August 19 or something. So, yeah. There you go. New one.
All right. Well, send me through the details.
On Thursday night on a school night and get shit-faced with us. It'd be great.
Assuming the school's not remote learning by then. That'll be all right.
Well, it's August 19th, so we'll be in lockdown probably August 25th.
That's right.
Yeah.
If there's a normal pattern behaviour, our gigs cause lockdowns. We get to play ours. And then
so either what will happen is that'll be a pretty good gig, and then we'll get another gig the week after where it'll be fucking incredible, and then we'll go into lockdown. Yeah. Or that Thursday gig will be fucking incredible, and then we'll go into lockdown.
These are your options, folks. Get on it.
Well, here's hoping this time around you break the fucking the habit. That'd be nice.
Yeah,
it would be nice. But we'll see what happens. But like I said, send me through the details and make sure that one goes in the gig guide, guys. We'll start bringing that back soon. Won't bring it back this weekend. Maybe next weekend we'll bring it back in and think a little more solidified just to make sure of things. Because right now there's still a bit of a grey area in watching things play out. So we'll just see how things go this weekend. And then,
Wolfpack are playing in Frankston on Friday.
Okay. Wow, cool. Nice. So I know the Bendy and that are doing gigs and that. Everyone, there's a lot going on. I'm just not convinced yet that we can get through this weekend without something going wrong, because we'll just wait and see. But anyway, that'll be that for now, I reckon. Here we go. Dean's jumped in with a quick question here. Any new music happening with the band for you guys in Orange? I know there's Arcane Saints coming.
Yeah, Orange. New stuff. I'm trying hard to write new music, but I'm lacking a bit of inspiration. I'm trying. Yeah. It's been a weird year and a half with very little happening. It's kind of.
It'll happen. I mean, we're still, only a couple months away from the last album being released.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll. I think we're all still. There will be another album coming out.
Yeah.
Dare I say it? If there's sort of a 12-month, 18-month plan or whatever it is. But I think for the moment we're all having a bit of fun playing what we've got and flogging what we've got because it's going well and people seem to be enjoying it. So we're kind of enjoying it too at the moment. So and I think we've all worked very hard on it, and it's nice to take a step back and just enjoy it while we can. So then when the time is right, we'll move forward, and there'll be a new material on the way for sure.
Cool. Here's one for you because, if you haven't checked out the album, get onto the fucking album. It's great. Taking the Piss by Eat the Damn Orange. Have you still got T-shirts available, guys? That's a question from Nudes.
Yep, definitely. Shirts, vinyls, CDs. Tell us what else you want. I'll make them.
Well, you flog that merch, and for everyone wanting to know, then get in the comments or just message the.
If there's a
page.
brewery out there that wants to put our sticker on an orange beer, we'll flog it for you.
Yeah, see, we're all over. We'll probably drink most of it, but that's okay. We'll pay for it.
Yeah, we won't.
That would be good. There could be
That's
some.
the dream.
Yeah, that would be a good market there, wouldn't it? Let's see what happens in that regard. Get the word out there to the local breweries, folks. Let's see if we can make that happen. I would love to see that happen out of this one. Oh, that'd be great. But we are getting on in the night. We'll wrap this up here, I think. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. Thank you for getting in the comments and having some fun with us. It's been an absolute blast, as always, to get the audience interaction. It's one of the most fun things about these live streams is getting that interaction, and it's always awesome. So thank you all so much. Thank you to both of you guys for jumping in for a Thursday night session with us here. It's been awesome. So cheers.
Next.
And we'll see you all again on the next stream on Sunday. Until then, I'm Andrew.
Brendan.
Tim.
As always,
drink up.
Rock on.